Welcome to Ohio History, Ohio is America, Chapter 1.1. Today we're going to learn a little bit about Ohio. Have you ever wondered what life would have been like if you were born in a different time period? What if you were born in Ohio but in a different year? What would that look like? Imagine if you were born thousands of years ago. What would be different than today? Think about things like basic needs and like food and shelter. Think about how things would be different. You could possibly be an astronaut. You could possibly be a paleo Indian. You could be a fur trader if you lived 300 years ago, a conductor on the Underground Railroad 200 years ago, and a pilot or an astronaut just 50 years ago. Something that's very different from when I was your age is back then, there were not cell phones that people walked around with. The very first cell phones that there were had to be attached to something. It had to be something that was either in a box about the size of maybe a microwave or slightly smaller, because it had to have a very strong battery. So my dad's very first cell phone was in his car because it had to be built into his car so that it had a battery strong enough to support it. So things were very different and the technology has very much changed, just like it would have changed if you had lived in a different time. Today we are going to learn why we study Ohio history, Ohio's geography, Ohio's economy, and a little bit about Ohio's people. Why is it important that we study history? Well, it tells us about our past family and culture. What do you think? What kind of details can it tell us about? It helps us to grow and make us better decisions in the present. In other words, we can learn from our mistakes. It helps us learn how we could change our future. What sort of details can it tell us about the past? Let's think about it. Can we learn about the different lifestyles of people? Can we help past information to help us make better decisions? Think about past inventions. We learned a lot from Orville and Wilbur Wright. Were we able to build a better airplane because of the information that they started with? How can we change the future from what we know from history? We've learned a lot about how to deal with conflict. What about Ohio's geography? Ohio is a large state in the Midwest. Why is it the word why do we consider Ohio being part of the Midwest? Because originally Ohio was considered to be part of the West, and then as states expanded across the United States and states were opened up further west of Ohio, it quit being the far west and became the Midwest. The name Ohio comes from the Seneca word Ohio, meaning great river. There are borders to the north, which is Lake Erie and the state of Michigan, borders to the south, the Ohio River and the state of Kentucky. To the east, Ohio is bordered by the states of Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and to the west, the Ohio border is the state of Indiana. Ohio's geography, western and northern Ohio are flat. Southern and eastern Ohio have more hills and valleys. Why is this big change? So much different topography in the state of Ohio? Because originally Ohio was covered with glaciers, and as they came through western and northern Ohio, it leveled off or flattened the land. The southern and eastern part of Ohio have foothills because they're the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. The state used to be covered with forest. Why was it cut down? Because people needed farmland. So they cut down the forest for farmland. Ohio's economy. The geography of Ohio decides what the economy is like in an area. West, Central, and North Ohio are agricultural areas because it is flat and easy to farm. Southern and Eastern Ohio have many materials like coal and limestone that is embedded in the earth and can be mined. Other things about Ohio is Ohio is also a big manufacturing area. Kroger was started in Ohio, and the Goodyear blimp was started in Ohio. The Goodyear tire manufacturing plant, which became and manufactured the first Goodyear blimp. There are many other items that are manufactured in Ohio. Some things would be all the Procter and Gamble things, Bounty, the Quaker Picker Upper, Crest toothpaste, Downy fabric softener. Honda cars are made in Ohio. Graters and Velvet ice cream are manufactured in Ohio. Mike Sells potato chips are done here in Dayton, and Esther Price candies are manufactured here in Dayton. Some services that originated in Ohio, Arby's, Wendy's, and were both fast food restaurants that started in Ohio. Papa John's Pizza started in Ohio. The Kroger grocery store chain started in Ohio. And Buffalo Wild Wings started in Ohio. A little bit about Ohio's people. Ohio is mostly rural, which means that people don't necessarily live in the cities. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Ohio is mostly rural content-wise, but most of the population is actually in cities. So again, most people live closer to cities or metropolitan areas or city-like areas. But if you look at the actual state itself, most of the land is rural or farmland or open land, not cities. Some of these cities were created on rivers for trade. Columbus, Cincinnati, and Cleveland all have major rivers. The capital of Ohio is Columbus. It is also the largest city at almost 900,000 people. Ohio's people. Ohio has 11.7 million people, making it one of the largest states. It has many different cultures and people that make a unique place to live. Together, we are what make Ohio great. When you're looking at Ohio cultures and Ohio people, originally, Ohio was settled by French and Americans, Indians, and English. Then we had an influx of African Americans, Polish, German, Irish, and Eastern European settlers. And then more recently, we've had a number of people from Nepal, Bhutan, Somalia, Hungary, and the Democratic Republic of Congo that have settled in the Ohio area. So we truly are made up of many different cultures and many different people.